hot lead, crashing into the only barriers between Charles Jones living and Charles Jones dying. Those barriers, the automotive glass, the sheet metal of the front of his Dodge Charger, which were absolutely no match for the high-powered 5.56 and 300 blackout caliber rifle rounds, which were now traveling at him, directed at him at thousands of feet per second, each one of them carrying over 1,200 foot-pounds of energy, directed specifically at Charles Jones. A Glock 9mm handgun was being utilized by one of these conspirators, a handgun that wasn't just a semi-automatic handgun. It had been converted to a fully automatic hand cannon, and now it was running wide open, dumping all 30 rounds of its magazine through the front end and the windshield of that Dodge Charger. All of that gunfire filling the dark early morning hours with booming concussions and bright flashing muzzle flashes as these high-pressured and high-powered rounds flooded the atmosphere in front of that Dodge Charger. Charles Jones. You've heard his name in the indictment. Mr. Jones, you will see in the evidence, not only produced this music, he produced music videos. Videos where he would travel to the gravesides of these individuals, or a graveside that was used in lieu of their graveside, and do things during the video like lay on their graves and sing around their graves and use sarcastic lyrics in his songs, pour champagne on their graves, rubbing it in the faces of ATK and 1200. And ATK and 1200 were no better. They did the same thing. You're going to see videos from members of that gang. One young man in particular, Kenyatta Bullard, known on the streets as Young and Ace, who produced not only songs about 6 Block members who had been murdered, in the days after the murder of Charles Jones, he produced a song just within almost 48 hours and put it up, talking about the murder of Charles Jones, the specific facts of it. This created in those 5 individuals, in their minds and in their hearts, a vendetta. This was revenge. Because he ridiculed them, and he ridiculed their gang, which was their family. He ridiculed their friends, which were their family members. They were close, deep running bonds of loyalty in this organization. Because they have each other and they defend each other. They defend not only each other, but they defend each other's honors. And now we go to the 22nd. This is the Saturday. Earlier in the day, before Julio Fully is going to start appearing at clubs in Tampa. This is the residence of Sean Gaithright, one of the conspirators. That is Mr. Gaithright walking out with a large duffel bag, and Isaiah Chance walking out with bags. And you'll see they start loading that black car, which is a Chevy Impala. That is the car that goes north in the hotel complex. That is the car transporting the assault team. And they load the bags into the trunk. That BMW on the top of the video there is being driven by Mr. Chance. And you see him bringing out another large bag. They're kitting up and they're getting their gear into their transports. You'll see in the evidence that Mr. Chance ends up leaving in that Beamer. He drives and picks up his girlfriend, this defendant, Alicia Andrews, and brings her back to this residence. And then the 3 of them Miss Andrews, Mr. Chance, and Mr. Gathright get into that Impala, and they drive here to Tampa, and they drive to the Airbnb, and there will be zero doubt about all of that, because that Impala, while it's en route, is being picked up on license plate readers. You will see in the evidence, their cell phones are tracking, hitting cell towers as they travel in unison all the way down to I-75, coming across from Jacksonville and heading directly into Tampa. And out of the blue, the assault team vehicle is pulling into the club. That is tight surveillance and intel. Now, in this photograph, that's 248. This is Mr. Jones' Charger. You can see the lights starting to light up because they're already inside the car. They're getting ready to leave. That's the Impala that has come in on the north side, gone down the west side, and is now passing in the front. Out of necessity, passing in the front. So this is just an aerial view of teasers. You can see Nebraska over here to the right. You can see this little road here, South Castle. The defendant and her boyfriend come and they park here in the north end. They get out, they walk around, they come around this way, they stand here. The entrance is over here. So they're way down here. You kind of saw that in that photograph. That you put them down there to the west. They conduct surveillance, they walk back up here, they get back into the car, and then they drive out onto East Castle. The assault team comes in the red arrows, comes in on the north end. We just watched it. They come down this way and they go down Castle. And as you can see, before I move on, a lot of folks standing around out there. A lot of people. Potential witnesses. Now, from there, when Mr. Jones leaves with his friends in the 3 cars, they travel to another club, an after party. Law enforcement go there later. They get this video of Mr. Gathright switching cars. You're going to see him wiping down the Impala before he leaves. And there he is leaving in the 4Runner, saying goodbye to his grandmother. The Airbnb. That's a photograph of, well, actually this is a video. So this is the night they get there. This is Saturday, the 22nd. The defendant entering. There's no volume on this, but when she walks in, someone says, "My bad." Mr. Chance having maybe a celebratory drink. This is the next day around 2:30, 3. You can see he has to keep knocking. The person getting in that silver car is an Uber driver who they have called. That is how they returned to Jacksonville. The defendant, Mr. Chance, and Mr. Murphy this time returned to Jacksonville. Now they're unloading, bringing out all of their kit and their gear, their weapons. There's Mr. Davion Murphy. Now they're getting sloppy because it's the next day and all of the conspirators are visible. There's Mr. Murphy trying to go back in. Mr. Gathright walking out with gear. They don't they don't leave the way they came. They flee from this murder separately and in a different format. That's Mr. Gathright. He leaves independent of the others in the Impala.
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel is violating the evidence. Stuff that's not even been introduced, Your Honor.
Well, because it's opening statement. He's just telling the jury what he believes the evidence will show. So